Hello, I'm Sophie and this is Simply Electronics First Impressions. This is the new Olympus SP-590. Only a year ago it seemed as though we were in a megapixel race with digital cameras, with manufacturers trying to leapfrog each other and cram more pixels into smaller sensors. Sometimes this could be marketing driven rather than technology driven, but whilst that seems to have calmed down, there is now a new feature that seems to be at the top of the list. That is what I like to call the optical zoom race. Olympus is caught up in this race, and this is obvious with this new camera. Its headline feature is a 26 times optical zoom lens with a massive focal range of 26 to 676mm. At 26mm, it's also quite wide and has a 1cm macro mode, so it seems to be the lens that does it all. It includes all the features you would expect from a camera in this price range, like dual image stabilization to keep your pictures sharp, a 12 megapixel sensor, 2.7-inch screen, 10 frames per second shooting at 3 megapixels, advanced face detection, ISO 64 to 6400, and a full range of creative exposure modes. The new Olympus is slightly smaller than the older SP-590 Ultra Zoom. Having said that, the ergonomics are great with a nice size grip with a good rubber feel. I'm a fan of the build quality and it's definitely agreeable at this price point. The only minus point worth mentioning is the plasticky flash, which is a pop-up type and feels like it belongs in something lesser. Having said that, most users will probably not be bothered by this. Good news is the HDMI port for easy connection to your HD TV, although you'll have to get your own HDMI cable as Olympus do not provide one in the box. This camera caters for both beginners and advanced users. If you're a complete novice, you can use the auto mode and let the camera decide everything for you, but we find beginners may get better results by trying out the scene modes. From my testing experience, the viewfinder is nice to have, but it's got a lower resolution than the LCD. But even so, if the sun is shining down and it becomes difficult to use the LCD, then you can always use the viewfinder, very handy. For navigation, there is a 4-way controller with a function button in the middle, which makes a lot of sense when just picking it up and playing around. It's nicely laid out and intuitive. For those of you who want to take a lot of people shots, then there's a new beauty feature that will be right up your street. This feature automatically detects faces and smooths out the skin, and even shows you a side-by-side before and after to highlight the effect. If you ask me, this is a really nice touch and helps to make those photos slightly more flattering. Now onto the lens. We were actually expecting a bit lower quality in terms of sharpness and distortion, but the lens managed to dash these expectations with great quality across the zoom range. Considering it goes from wide to super long to super close, this is a big thumbs up. Apart from all the auto-focusing options, you can also manual focus using the left and right dials, which is a nice touch. When using the telephoto end of the zoom range, or if using it at night, image stabilization is an important factor to keep the images clean and sharp, and Olympus claims to have 2 different methods to achieve this. On further inspection, the first method is a true mechanical stabilizer, and the second method is by increasing the sensitivity of the sensor in order to keep the shutter speed down. So although we're happy with the first method, the second is closer to a marketing breakthrough than a technological breakthrough. The movie mode is a bit hit and miss, and I'm sure many of you would like to know whether you can use this massive zoom range whilst recording videos. Well, the answer is yes, but, and this is a big but, not if you choose to record sound. You get the option to choose the frame rate of either 15 frames per second or 30 frames per second, the resolution between VGA and QVGA, then you can choose to record with sound, hence locking the zoom, or without sound, allowing the zoom to function whilst recording. This is a little disappointing, but as with most digital cameras, the video mode is really for quick snaps rather than a Hollywood movie. Most people will be interested in this camera due to the huge zoom range, and in this crucial area the camera performs admirably. As expected, high ISO performance is no match for a digital SLR, but what you do have is an incredibly flexible package that caters for a lot of different needs, and doing nearly all of these jobs very well. For those of you upgrading from other Olympus Super Zooms, you may want to bear in mind that this camera will not support RAW, although most users will not be taking pictures in this format. Finally, the Olympus is virtually an all-in-one, and if you're in the market for a super zoom, you should definitely have a long think about the SP-590.